Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well. We're going to give it just a few minutes to allow people to join us. So if you are here already, feel free to go ahead and drop your name in the chat. Tell us where you're streaming from. Let's interact while we wait for a few more people to join us. Want to see what you guys are saying in here. I hope you guys can see my screen. I see quite a few people. All right, we're going to keep giving it just a few more minutes. Feel free to say anything in the chat, give us a shout out. And super excited about this webinar, you guys. Looks like there's some more people joining us as well, so we'll give that a bit. There's still more people joining, so we're still going to give it a few more minutes. For those of you guys joining, please go ahead and write your name in the chat. Tell us where you're streaming from. We want to hear from you. And I don't see anyone's in the chat. If you're just joining us now, feel free to write a message in the chat. Let us know where you're from. Say your name. And Paul, you can add stuff in the Q&A if you need to. It looks like we're having some technical difficulties in the chat right now, so feel free to use the Q&A option. Hi, Veronica. Hi, Lyman, Akila, Bethany, Brandon. Hey, Dan. Thank you all for joining. It looks like more people are coming in, so we're still going to give it just a few more minutes, maybe like 1 minute, and then we'll start. Thank you all. Hi, Tim. Hi, Todd. Hi, Vitaly. Michelle, hey. Hey, Jeffrey. Yes, I do see it. It looks like we're having some technical difficulties with the chat option. So if you guys want, just go ahead and use the Q&A for now. Yes, I'm sorry, Lyman. We'll work on it. So after I introduce Paul, I will go ahead and try to see if there's anything I could do to fix it. So that way we can all chit chat. But yeah, okay, so I think we are good to go. Let's go ahead and start. So for those of you who don't know me, I'm Selena. I'm the head of customer success here at Sendspark, and it is so great to be here today. I'm so excited about this webinar. And I really want to thank you all for taking the time to join us today. I know that this is one of the most anticipated webinars yet. So again, feel free to use the Q&A for now if you want to have, like, if you have a question or anything like that. But We are going to have a Q&A session at the end of the presentation as well, so that our host can answer any questions that you have. So feel free to pick his brain. And if you have any questions about Sendspark, I'll be in there as well. But yeah, let's go ahead and kick us off with some few fun facts about our host. So I do want to say that it has been a genuine pleasure to work with this host that you're about to learn about. When talking to him, honestly, you can really tell that he has a sincere passion and desire to help others. He's been with Sendspark since November of last year, and he's seen some incredible results by adding personalized videos to his outreach strategy. And another fun fact is that this Sendspark super user is from Australia, so he does have a really cool accent, but he does work globally, and he is the founder of Paul Higgins Mentoring. There's a hint on the name, and I know you guys have seen his name anyways. But to top it off, he was also a director of an iconic brand before leaving to set up his own business. Now, this iconic brand is a mystery because I did ask him yesterday if he would share it with me, and he would not share it with me. He said that we have to wait to the webinar. So we'll find out what this mystery iconic brand is going to be, and I can't wait. But it's truly such an honor to have him here today, where he has graciously volunteered to share his success strategies with all of us and pave the way for us to see higher conversion results with our outreach approach. So without further ado, I'd love to go ahead and present to you Mr. Paul Higgins.
Great to be here, Selena. If you can just quickly change me to host again so I can share my video, that'd be great.
Yes, I gotcha.
And it's fantastic just to watch in the Q&A just where people are listening from all over the world. So welcome, everyone.
There you are. You are now the host.
I'm live. There we go. Looking as sharp as I can at 5 a.m. in the morning. But look, it's great to be here. What I'll do is now share my screen and go into presentation mode. So there we go. Let's forget that never happened. Okay, brilliant to be here. And thanks for the lovely introduction, Selena. So let me just set up by saying, yes, I've got an Australian accent, as Selena said. So if there's anything you don't understand, just please put in the Q&A. Not quite sure why chat isn't working, but let's put it all in the Q&A and put all your questions in there as we go through, because what we do is we get the transcript at the end and we can answer as many of those questions as possible, because this session's all about you, right? I want to give my learnings on using the wonderful Sendspark platform to effectively improve my sales. So I'll definitely do that. And I know that, can you hear me okay, Selena?
Yes, I can hear you just fine.
Excellent. Great. And so what we'll do is go away. So everyone's got a defining moment in their life. And my defining moment was when I found out that I've got a condition called polycystic kidney disease. So it's the same condition that my grandfather died at 41, and my mum almost lost her life about 2 years before this photo. So this is me at 18. And yeah, I'll never forget walking out of the doctors, looking at mum, and she knew instantly that I'd had the same condition. It's just cysts that grow in different organs, and I've got them in both kidney and liver. And most of the heritage of my family, most people had passed from heart attack, but it was actually because the kidneys had failed and caused heart attack. So look, at 18, it's not the news you really want to get, but I decided to, just live life to its fullest, perform the best that I possibly could, and really take mum's pain away, because, mum was thinking, God, this will change his life. And I'm like, well, I want to prove to you, mum, that I can do everything I possibly can and then be as normal as anyone else. So the iconic brand I worked for was for Coca-Cola. It's 130 years old. You all know it. You've all probably tasted it. And I started there as a rep, and I ended up as a director. So I worked there for 18 years. And the biggest thing, there's lots of things you take from Coca-Cola, but just the degree that we were trained in sales was enormous. And, both from the training point of view, but a practical point of view, it was great. And then after about 5 years of business of doing different things, I decided to set up a consultancy. It was called a cloud consultancy. It was with a business partner, and we decided to, one of the products that we were going to distribute was Copper. So Copper's a sales CRM. It works beautifully with Google, and we loved everything Google, so it made sense. And they were sending us 80 leads a month, and it was fantastic. We absolutely loved that until one day they decided to change that. And we went from 80 leads a month to nothing. And what compounded it was, at the time I was actually on dialysis. So my kidneys had failed by this stage. And I was 3 days a week, 4.5 hours on dialysis plus travel time, etc. And it wasn't great timing per se, but it was like, okay, got to do something, got to fix it. And that's when not this guy came into my life. I have read his books, but the guy behind the scenes. So the guy that does Tony Robbins, Jay Abraham, other LinkedIn, or other personality type personalities in their LinkedIn. And anyway, long story short, he was, we were introduced, he heard my story. I actually videoed him. I had the video off, but then I turned it on and said, look, I'm on dialysis and blah, blah, blah. So he said, I'm going to help you, right? I'm going to give you all the world's best techniques to get you out of the bind that you're in. You seem like a great guy, which, he got to be careful judging a book by a cover. But yes, we went in, and this was the result. So this is my business partner. So this was 12 months later, and me having my first alcohol drink, celebrating the sale of our business. So we went from near disaster to selling the business from the strategies that we learned on LinkedIn. And what I'm going to show you is 3 ways that you can take those learnings and apply it to your business. And you can, sorry, I'm just looking this. Okay. Excellent. No, I was just making sure that you could all hear me. So, so I'm going to show you those 3 ways, and it's going to save you 4 years of time, right? Wherever you are. But what I'd love to know is, what have you tried, right? So put in the Q&A, because I don't think the chat's still working. Put in the Q&A what's working well for you on gaining clients through LinkedIn at the moment, and what's not working as well as you'd like. So, please just put it in the Q&A. I'll give you a couple of minutes to put it in there. I'll read out some of the answers, and then we'll go into, most importantly, how I can practically give you tips to solve that today. So type in the Q&A. Not getting any results. Lehman, I feel your pain. That's what a lot of clients have. Please just keep putting in the Q&A, and for specific things, what I'll do is, if you put your specific in what's not working well, I can cover it here, and if I can't, I'll definitely cover it in the after the webinar. So 3-legged stool, you've all heard the analogy before. So the first one is your profile, the next is your posts, and the third is the prospecting, and they all work together. So a lot of people just go instantly to the prospecting part of it. They're hungry to gain business, and what they don't do is build their authority on LinkedIn first. So, when was the last time that someone said to you, I want you to be introduced to someone or whatever? You go to their LinkedIn profile, don't you? You probably went to mine when you heard that I was presenting today, and you read my profile. So, that's the reality. So you got to have a great profile. Then from a post point of view, people want to know that you are the expert you're proclaiming to be. So they'll go to your post and they want validation. They want to see that there are posts. They want to see that your content's good, and they want to see that there's engagement behind the posts. And then after that, it's then in the prospecting. And prospecting, a lot of people think that you'll reach out cold and get clients straight away. But often what will happen is that people will follow you, they'll follow your posts, and they'll basically lurk. And also, like I said, they'll validate, right? They'll validate who you are through your profile and post. So that's why the 3 are so important. So let's go to the first thing which sets this all up, right? So this is Stephen, and he came to me, and this was his header, right, on his LinkedIn. Now, you try to discern what he does, right? So connect the dots beyond CRM. So you think maybe he's something with Salesforce. Does he work for Salesforce, right? You can look at that and sort of draw some of your analogies. But for me, I'm like, I really got no idea what you do, Stephen. And to be honest, he didn't either. He was serving multiple verticals. His profile was talking to everyone. And he said, Paul, I really need some help. And in short, this is what we ended up with, right? So we help fast-growing B2B companies to automate leveraging Salesforce and accounting suite, right? So the key thing here, and you've heard it a lot of times, to niche down or niche down wherever you are in the world, to be really specific. And that's the number one thing with your profile, right? And then everything else leads from that. If you decide who you want to work with, and don't be afraid that people coming to your profile won't, what people say is, but if I niche down so tightly, Paul, some of my existing clients or other people that I serve won't work with me. But if someone's referred to you, right, even if they're not that exact person, they'll still work with you. I've got lots of examples of that from me and my clients. And the other key thing here is, you want to make sure that someone hits your profile and they go, oh, I've been waiting for this. This is exactly for me. And if you want some details on how to get that, just add ICP into the Q&A now. And what I'll do is give you the template that I help people come up with their ideal client and their ideal client profile. So that'll help you in a lot of ways. But just take a note now, wherever you take your notes, to look at your profile and really say, am I being that specific? Am I niching down? Because then, as I said, everything else flows from there. So let's start with a couple of key things on the profile. So one is your header, right? So think of it as the billboard on the side of the road, right? People quickly go to your LinkedIn profile and they'll look at the header and they want some direction. Now, I see a lot of people have beautiful pictures of the city they may live in, a holiday resort, etc., that they've been to. That's nice, but that's for other social media. It's not for LinkedIn. LinkedIn's a little bit more business based, as you know, and people really want in 2 minutes to sum up, can you help them, right? And it's all about them. It's not about you. So, for example, at the moment, I'm running a community, which I'll talk more about. It's called the Cloud Consultants Collective. So, I've got a specific pitch on that at the moment. And then I've got, supporting partners like this, right? So if you're a partner of Salesforce, Monday, HubSpot, whatever, you've got a pretty good indication of who I help. And it's right at the top, and that's my billboard, right? So I'll show you an example of one that was prepared before. And now I didn't talk to Bethany, who's the CEO and co-founder of Sendspark. I didn't talk to her previously, but it was a great example. The number one video platform for sales teams to connect with customers, right? And that's probably, some of the people here, what the product does, but isn't that a great example of the billboard as you walk past or drive past? Next is the headline. And once again, please just keep putting in your questions. I see a lot of people with ICP in there. That's great. Any questions you've got as we go along, put them in the Q&A and I'll make sure that I answer them either at the end or after the webinar. And also for those people that are watching the replay on this, you can always email me at paul@paulhigginsmentoring.com with your questions. So profile for the headline. So it's a formula you've probably heard before, but I help X through Y to achieve Z is the general formula that you use. But once again, it's not about you. It's about the people that are there, right? If you're there, whether you're B2B or B2C, you're there to provide people or to solve their problems, right? To give them a service. So make sure that it's nice and clear. So I help cloud SaaS partners to scale. Now, for some of you, that may mean nothing, right? What's a cloud or a SaaS partner, right? But if you're my ideal client, you know exactly that it's for you. And then it's really good to have some keywords in there. So I've got consulting, community owner, podcaster, accelerate sales. So they effectively allow you to, sorry, I'm just seeing if the chat's working. It's still not working, so sorry about that. So yeah, that allows you to be found in key searches, right? And then the other thing is just add a bit of personality, something that's unique about you. So I'm a transplant recipient, which, was from my best friends. I went from dialysis. Now I've got a healthy kidney, which is brilliant. But I've got that, and also I'm a golfing tragic, right? So it also gives people the chance to have a conversation with you if they are. And the other thing is there's a mode called creator mode. Now, if you're posting regular content, which we'll get to in a moment, you can turn on creator mode, right? So if you've got creator mode turned on, just type that in the Q&A. And you get 5 hashtags with that creator mode. And we don't know the exact algorithm, but LinkedIn, the theory is that they boost your posts if you've got that turned on. So just make sure that you have the hashtags, and the hashtags should be very much to your ideal client. And also just check them. So if you go into LinkedIn at any point up in the search at the top, you can just go hashtag podcast, hit enter, and it'll show you how many followers there are. So I always like to have a small group of followers that are very specific. So hashtag cloud is very specific. And then hashtag sales has got like, I think 15 or 17 million followers, right? So they're broad, but that's a key thing in your headline. Then the next thing we're going to talk to is posts, which I've sort of, talked a little bit about. I just want to know, what's your frequency? So are you posting, and how often are you posting? Just put it into the Q&A. And as you're doing that, the frequency that I always recommend is definitely no more than once a day. It's not like Twitter, right? That LinkedIn algorithm, they don't want people to be bombarded by content. They want really good content. They don't want to be bombarded by content. So I would at least post once a day, and I'll probably, to begin with, 3 times a week. Sometimes I do it 4 times, but I do 3 times a week. It's better to be consistent than it is to post a lot of content on 1 week and then you don't go for 3 or 4 weeks. The algorithm doesn't like it, so that you don't get as higher impressions, you don't get people seeing it. But also your clients, remember, those people you're outreaching to come and they want to see that you're posting regularly as an expert, right? So that's something really important to do. So thanks for popping in those that post. Just put in there, because I've got some extra tips I can give after this if you are posting. So please put it in the Q&A. The next is the different formats to use. So what should I use, Paul? What's hot at the moment? So one is, I call it a slider, but it's a PDF, right? So you put a little bit about the post at the top, and then you put a 5 to 10 page slider. So it's the PDF. You've all probably seen them on LinkedIn. But one of the key things to the algorithm is dwell time, right? So you want people to be there for a longer period of time. So by them going through the PDF, that increases dwell time, but it also just makes it easier for people, right? If you can get the key points, and people, generally learn visually, you see the key points, that's fantastic. So definitely do that. And then the other one is polls, right? Now, polls, you've got to test this yourself, but the thing I love about polls is that it gets lots of engagement, but what you can do is see who's voted. And then based on the question or the answer they've given, you can then reach out to them because you know specifically what they voted on. So there's no other format that does that. So that's fantastic. And that then can lead to conversation. So I see you said this on my poll, answered this, and then you can ask another question, which we'll cover in the prospecting part. So they're the different formats that are working well. What are the total formats? There's video, there's text only, there's text and a photo, but really the 2 that are working the best at the moment are those 2. So what about the structure as you do a post? So it's really important, once again, to make it easy for people to read. So the first thing is intriguing headline, right? So probably stating the obvious here, but it's no different to subject, whether it's an email that you're sending, it's a bit of copy that you're writing. You want people to stop scrolling and actually open the post, right? So that's really important. So make sure that it's intriguing enough for them to want to read it. The next is plenty of white space. 60% of people, LinkedIn said, use their mobile. I think it's a lot more than that. You just think of the last time that you looked at a post on your, for you, was it on your desktop or was it on your mobile? I'm probably thinking it's mobile. If you want to let me know in the chat, please, put it in there. But oh, sorry, not in the chat, in the Q&A. But yeah, so make sure that it's spaced out and it's really easy, because people will take, once again, 2 minutes to do it. So make it easy for them. Next is craft the story, right? You've all heard the hero journey, what most movies are based on. Just tell a bit of a story, and it doesn't hurt to tell a client story or your personal experience to actually make it more entertaining, because that we all remember stories, but we don't often remember facts. So do it in a story format. Make sure you're adding value, and the value, just do it in bullet point, right? So once again, you don't want a lot of words. I see a lot of posts that are all crammed together, etc. The easier you space it, and you might do 3 key things that you're going to get value from, just do those. I'm going to show you some examples in a moment. And the next is always ask a question. So you want people to engage. So if they're your ideal client, you can actually go back and say, thanks for liking or commenting on my post. And that starts a conversation, right? The other thing is that the algorithm rewards comments twice what it does likes. So it's really good to have comments. So always ask for that question to engage people in the comments. And you can also have where you can have a call to action as well. So that can be great. The call to actions, what I normally do is, maybe of the 3 I do a week, maybe every second week, I'll do a specific call to action where I'm actually talking about, here's an example of a client that got value. If you'd like to get the same value, go to here. Or what I normally say is put, a word that might be grow, for example, put that in the comment section, and then we'll get back to you. So that's another way of doing some outreach. And then finally, it's just the hashtags. And the hashtags, look, there's so many theories on this one. Some people say you should only have 3. Some people say a maximum of 9. I think, I would have up to 9. You don't want to have any more than that. And just once again, use the 5 that you've got on your creator mode, use those, but also use some that are specific to the topic and specific to the post, and have some small and large ones. So here's an example. So this was me with a PDF, and you can see there 35,000 impressions, and you can see, 75 likes, 21 comments. And the way that we do this is working in a group. So you might have heard the word pod. So we have what we call a professional pod, but we have that where in the first hour, you get the right amount of likes and comments that will really boost your post. And, following this, you can see the results. And then this is one of the members of the community. It's Glenn. And you can see here that you can't see his views because I can't get views, only he can. But the views on this, he said, was around 250,000 impressions. And you can see 256 likes and 25 comments, 13 shares. And that's all people that, if they're in his ideal client, he can follow up with, right? So that's how he gets people in his profile. So we've covered profile, post. Now let's go into prospecting, and we're going to get to see exactly how I use video and how Sendspark has made such a difference to my prospecting. So on videos, so 72% of customers learn about your product or service via video, right? So we all know that people are doing more and more research about you and your product and service. And if you have video, that's definitely going to help. The other thing is that viewers retain 95% of the message on video compared to 10% on text, right? And you just think about your own experience. And if you've got both the video and the captions, that works even better, right? But that's what we're moving to. So doesn't it make sense to do that in the sales process? And that's what we're going to go through now. So the key thing I want to talk about here, though, is video is more of a marathon than a sprint, right? So what I say by that is I wouldn't be sending people video straight away, right? What you want to do is make sure there's enough engagement, there's some replies before you start using video, and video definitely follows right through the journey, not just from the sales perspective, but also right through to the to when they're a client and continued as a client. I'll show you an example of a video in a moment. So from a networking perspective, so I always like to start with my LinkedIn thinking from easiest to hardest, okay? And I just want to check the Q&A. So the chat, I don't think there's anything in chat, but if you've got questions, please just keep popping them in the Q&A so that we can either answer them at the end, or like I said, when the video ends, we can do that. And if you're watching it as a replay, just email me at paul@paulhigginsmentoring.com. That'd be great. So from a network point of view, we want to just target 20 people in your network, because most people say, look, I'm just not getting the sales that I want, and I don't really know where to go. And I'm like, you've got hidden gems within your network. You've got at least 20 people that you've spoken to in the past, that now that your offers change or your ideal client that we've refined, that you'll actually remember that you've got those people. So start with them, because you've got some relationship with them, and then go and look at their activity on LinkedIn and actually engage with them on LinkedIn. So once again, it's like walking into a party, right? Where you want people just to first acknowledge you. So you might just wave to someone, or there might be a subtle gesture, right? You want to get into a conversation. You don't go straight into the depths of a sale straight away, right? You want them to get to like, know, and trust you, or on this occasion, you want to get them to reacquaint. And what you can also do is ask your network, do they know someone like X, right? And I'll show you a way you can do that in a moment. So, sorry, it's, so the next is to then send them the video, right? So you've engaged, you've got a bit of interaction, then you can send them the video. And I'll talk about some of the ways and tips on sending video in a moment. And then what you want to do is make sure it's conversational, right? So yes, a video, often people see a video as one way. No, it's definitely talking to them as if you're in a personal conversation there and then. It's a live conversation. You're talking to them like I'm talking to you at the moment, and then you're getting them to reply. So the next level up, so we've done network. The next level up is first connections, right? And they're your first connections. So once again, you've already got gold in your LinkedIn that you probably haven't mined as yet. Now, some of you would have, which is fantastic, but I'd say 90% of the people that I work with haven't really leveraged their LinkedIn first connections, and they haven't looked at you've redefined your ideal client, your ideal ICP. So then it's about, how do I know if I've even got them in my LinkedIn? And you can do some searches. So you can go and do some activity on their LinkedIn, like I said before. Now, what do I mean by activity on their LinkedIn? So if they've posted, go and like the post to begin with. Then you can comment on the post, and you can mention them to get them back. Now, most people don't get, like I get, 35,000 and Glenn 250,000 impressions, right? So they don't get a lot of love on their post, but they do a lot of effort. And you probably feel like that sometimes. So by you actually liking and commenting, all of a sudden you're getting into their world, right? It's that acknowledgement, that's hand across the room to do it. Then you can send them the video and then get conversational. And you can see in Sendspark, and if you're a user, you'd already know, but if you're not, you can leave a custom message. So I say a personal message for you, Owen. So I mentioned their name, and then I've got here, so this was to re-engage with him on the Cloud Consultants Collective. So I've got the video, I've got the call to action here, and then I've got book a call. Right now, these videos are only a minute long, but I've built the activity on LinkedIn, and then I send him the video. And once again, I got him to reply. And you can see here, it's a bit of a still, but you can actually use a GIF, which I love, where in the email, you can see the automation. So we talked about Stephen before, right? So what I said to him is, go to your clients and see if they've got clients like you, right? Because in it, they'll normally have, mutual connections. So you can see there that I've got 20 mutual connections with Stephen as an example. So, you've heard the 6 degrees of separation. There's a lot of value sitting there already waiting for you to tap into. So you can do that. And also followers is the same thing. And what I'd say is, they can vouch for me, right? Because it's yes, if you're doing very high ticket sales and you've got the time, get someone to introduce, that's fantastic. So, hey, Stephen, I see Ben, I'm trying to talk to Ben. Would you do an intro? That's okay. But what I do is shortcut that by just saying, Ben and Melissa, which this is how I know them, and they can vouch for me, right? So once again, it's just giving that level of trust in a world where they're bombarded by spam, and you're probably bombarded by spam as well. This is, bringing that closer, that world closer. So you can do that. And the next is, and so remember, we've gone network, we've gone your first connections, we've gone the clients' first connections. Now we're going into, okay, you've tested all your questions, you've got everything happening well. Let's go into the prospecting. So that's into your second and third connections. Now, you're normally going to be using Sales Navigator for this, and I'd recommend getting an account. It's between 79 and 99 US, depends on the time, and you can do that. So what you want to do is see if people are active for 30 days. So in Sales Navigator, it actually tells you that, whether they've been active. So that could be a post, it could be something else. Then what you want to do is follow them, right? So where it's got connect there, most people have got connect. What you can do is press more, and then you go to follow, right? And just quickly on follow, if you're in creator mode on the post, you will definitely go to follow instantly. It'll have follow up here, right? And then you've got engage with their posts. So I've already said, how you do that. So you engage with their posts, and then you validate their email. So we use some software. If you want to know what the software is that we use, just type email in the Q&A, and we will send that to you. So you've got to the stage where you're in their world, right? So hopefully by the fact that you've been in their world enough, that they're going to actually send a connection request to you. So that's great. That happens often, right? Because you're having good conversations on their posts and you're engaging with them, right? But if they don't, this is a format. So there's so many different formats out there. But what I do is like to keep it short and sweet. I've enjoyed your conversation on your posts, and always, put their name. I realize we aren't connected. Would you be open to connecting? And the key word there is open. You always want them, from a psychology point of view, you want them to have the choice, right? So I love using the word open. So, I might say, are you open to a meeting? And I won't send the link straight away. I'll just say that because you want them to engage. It's in a conversation, right? When you're in a conversation, a networking event, it's not all one way. Online, it's the exact same thing. And always, Tyrone, who was on my podcast, a great guest, said, you shouldn't ever have a conversation on LinkedIn that you wouldn't have in real life. And I thought, yeah, okay, that's right. That's how you should approach this. And then we use a cool little tool once they accept that actually has the name of their company. It also has their first name, and it puts their profile pic, would you believe it, in the Connect. So we've all heard of Connect 4. It does that. So that's great. And if you want to know that software, just type Hyperize in there and we will get that through to you. Now, I'm not seeing excellent, fantastic. I'm seeing more and more people in the Q&A, so keep putting in there. That's fantastic. So you want to thank them. Then also what you want to do is do some skill endorsement, and you want to follow up with them. So the next one is a pattern interrupt. So someone asked me, what do you say in the 1-minute emails, in the 1-minute videos? Well, I'm going to show you that in a moment. But this is, so you've got the connection, right? The hardest thing is then how do you get them to reply? So, most people will send, or a lot of people will send a script at that point, and, you just get crickets back from that. You don't get anyone back. And what we recommend is you can go and grab their company logo, right? And you can go to their website and you can say, and always do it in a minute. So always introduce myself, always give them background, because you know them well, that you've been connecting, but they might be, having conversations with lots of people, right? So always give the context of how you got to sending them this video. So, and then what you can do is just take a short video of their logo, their website and their logo, and say, look, I love the logo. It looks fantastic. Did you design it yourself? Right. So what you're trying to do is, like in human nature, you're just trying to get people to reply to you at the first stage, right? And you just trying to get that. Now, eventually you want to get people to email. So you might do that quickly on LinkedIn, but then what you do is go to email and you've validated their email. The next one is an interview, right? So if they've been in an interview, so I did this one where someone was on a podcast, a sales evangelist one I listened to, said, look, I loved you on the podcast. I learned these things. I applied these things. It was fantastic, right? So there's a little pattern interrupter. Another one is a blog, and also a LinkedIn post. And once again, you're just using Sendspark to bring it up. You've got you there and you've got the video of showing it. And as I said, there's the podcast, the interview. So the interview might be a YouTube interview. If you're targeting a CEO or something like that, it might be an interview that they've done on, one of the major channels. You can do that. And what I always recommend is pull somewhere like in the middle. Even if you don't watch the whole thing, pull in the middle so people know, well, it's just not the start that they've done it. Okay, brilliant. So the next is the follow-up email. So this is where it gets more specific, right? And I talked a little bit about it before, what I do, but one I always put in the top of the subject line for the video, and I learned this from Bethany, which was a personalized video for you, and I put their name. It's safe to open and even safer to watch. Right? Because if someone gets it down there, sometimes when you see video and you think, oh, I don't know whether I should open this or not, even though it's got you waving, it's got their profile. So it's a good hint, but just make it safe as possible. And then also put the summary of the key points, right? So they don't have to watch the whole video, even though it's a minute long. And it shows, what I love about Sendspark is it shows how long the video is. You can see on the main thumbnail. But just have that there. Now, you might be thinking, well, Paul, how's this working for you? Well, believe me, like on LinkedIn, we used to aim, well, as an industry, you aim for 20% reply rates, right? By using these techniques with Sendspark, we've been able to go to 20 to 35%, right? Which is a massive increase. And what it's led to is more conversations that are more sales conversations and more clients. Right. I've grown my business by 50% in the last 12 months from using Sendspark. I think it was November, wasn't it? Well, November last year, from using Sendspark to get that. Right. And I'd love to know your experience. Like, so far, just put it in the Q&A, like how you're using Sendspark. I'd love to know that. And once again, we can follow up at the end. And also, if you've got a case or a use case where you're thinking, I'd love to use Sendspark in this way for prospecting, you haven't covered it, Paul, but I think it'll be great. Just put that in the Q&A. Once again, if we don't get to it at the end, we'll get to it via questions later. So we've done the follow-up email. So then and the other thing is, I've said 1 minute, but the other thing is just always have a clear call to action, right? And what I want to do is just click off here and show you an example. So I'll just play this video. It's 1 minute, so bear with me. Now, the other thing is you and the client can always increase it. And sometimes what I'll do is say to people, hey, I'm Australian. I probably, you mightn't be able to catch my accent. Listen at 1. But for us fellow Australians, I say, I'm boring. I talk too slow. Do it at 2 times speed. So if I just go to the example here. So I'll play. Hopefully you can hear this.
Paul, I can't hear it. Just letting you know if you want to turn up the volume a little.
Sorry, guys. I think you're not able to hear it. So apologies for that. What I will do, I will just end that. I'll go back to the deck. And what we'll do is drop that we'll drop that and give it to everyone that's attended so you can actually see it. But in summary, can you hear me now, by the way, Selena?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, great. Sorry about that, guys. But and what I'll do is just go to full screen. That you can see that it's very personal. It's linking information that I've got. It's very specific to their profile, right? and, it's quite engaging and it's only a minute long, right? And I always say to people, it doesn't have to be perfect, right? A lot of people say, oh, I've got to practice. I'm not quite sure what to do. Just talk naturally. And there's no better way of doing it than to do it, right? Like for me, I was terrible. I had a little camera on my computer to begin with. With my Australian accent, I used to find it really difficult to talk to Americans. I was always worried how I sounded, et cetera, et cetera. Now, just because I do them so regularly, you just get better and better at them. And what I normally do is just have a little cheat sheet next to me where I just look at, the key points. Because I've done it so often, it's just natural that I get those, right? But you can go back and just have a look at that even before you do the video to do them. Okay, so then the great thing is Sendspark gives you all the stats, which is brilliant. So you can see, how many times they viewed it, played it, how long they did it for. And so this is a different one where they watch, 36% of the video. But what I do is then get my team to trigger. So my team, every time a video is done, then what they do is in the sales CRM against that particular person, they'll actually say, okay, they've watched the Sendspark. So then I know that I've got to go and do that. Or they'll even, if there's been a reply, they'll do that. Try to always add value with a follow-up as well. So, you get the old, I'm circling back, I'm following up. No, like give them value because they'll know why you're following up. So, I just did a podcast with this guest, it's very, it's exactly what we talked about the other day. I wanted to share this with you, right? So you do a little video like that and that adds value. And then they're going, oh, that's right. Paul's still in my, I was going to get back to Paul on X, Y, Z, right? So you don't make it that obvious. And you also ask them what else you can do. So templates, that's the other great thing is that what I've done is created a whole lot of templates. So for follow-up, for example, I've got a template where I've customized the header, the message, and the call to action. So it's there. So on the top right, if you're used to using Sendspark, on the top right, you can just go templates. On your profile, you can go templates, and then just makes it so much quicker. And I've got templates for follow-up. I've got for clients, I've got, about 20 templates that I've got set up there that makes it so much easier. But when you do the template, it's not fixed. You can still go in and add their name as an example in the header. So yes.
Sorry to interrupt you, Paul. Could you share your screen with us, please?
Sorry, guys. Did it log out? Okay, give me just 1 sec here. So it must have bumped me when there we go. Are we back?
Yes, we are.
Excellent.
We see the video.
There we go, guys. So that's what I was showing you, and that's what the analytics look like in Sendspark. Then the templates, that's what I was showing you on the templates. And then we're here, right? So this was me in 2019 on dialysis, just been told by Copper that, my 80 prospects had disappeared a month overnight. And I didn't really know what to do. So you can see what I've done with LinkedIn, but what was really the cream on the cake was then using video powered by Sendspark to really make a difference. And, that was me selling the business for a great multiple to a Google partner. And it, that story there, yes, it's not only LinkedIn. There was other things that we did, but LinkedIn, there was majority, and really adding that video was the next component. So the major thing that I want you to do, and I see that there's lots of Q&A in there that we'll get to in a moment, the key ones, but I just want you to take the info, but implement, right? It's all in the action. So even if you just do one action from today, just go through all your notes, just circle the most important thing and just do that, right? If you just do that alone, right, you're making progress. So what I'll do now is hand it over to you, Selena, to talk about the offer that we've Sendspark are kindly giving everyone that's participated.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And thank you so much for showing us all of this and giving us your best tips and tricks for success. This is already just so amazing. And I think all of us are learning so much. But I do want to go ahead and share this awesome little perk that we're going to give you all. So if you're on the free plan, you can upgrade to pro or to business. We're giving you a promo code that you can use. If you're on the pro plan, you can upgrade to business. And you can use the promo code Spark Success. So go ahead and save that. I'll go ahead and write it in the chat because I think you guys can at least copy and paste it from there, and you can see it. And I'll even put some in the Q&A section. But yeah, go ahead and use this to upgrade. It's going to give you 33% off for the next 3 months. So it's going to be awesome. You're going to get 3 months of a discounted rate here with Sendspark. And let me know if you have any questions. And I'm going to go ahead and pass it back on to you, Paul.
Fantastic. What a great offer. And the other thing which I didn't really mention with what I found with Sendspark, because we you know, I collect technology like some people collect watches, whatever, right? I just AppSumo, if you've ever heard of AppSumo, there's all these deals going all the time. I'm always collecting apps. And for me, you know, the big one is the user experience. Like, how easy is it for me and my team to use? And I found versus some of the other platforms, Sendspark's a lot easier to use. It's got more functionality, but also it's a bit easier to use than some of the others that I've tried. So yeah, I went on a journey and my team did the research before we ended up on Sendspark. So what we'll do now is, I know we're getting close to the hour, but just Q&A. So if you have any questions that you haven't had the chance to type in because you've been listening, please put them in the Q&A now. I'll just quickly run through and see what I can cover in here. But yeah, please put them in. I know that a lot of people have asked for some of the resources. If you haven't had the chance, you can put ICP in to get the ideal client profile, which is really that's where it all starts from. And then also Hyperize. And what Hyperize is it's a tool that allows you to use GIFs. So you can, have yourself waving, you can show a certain product, and it just puts that into LinkedIn. It can be automated through another tool that we use called Expandy. So you can automate the two. And once again, if you're watching the replay, if you have any questions, just email me, paul@paulhigginsmentoring.com. So that's what Hyperize is. Yeah, so how can I make a direct message appealing? I think the number one thing is that it's showing their profile, showing their website, and giving them a compliment to begin with, right? So, everyone loves compliments. We're all human. So I definitely do that. And then keep it short and sweet. I think that's the other thing on there. So that's a great question. Well done. And to be honest, what I do is just try different ones, right? So I will just, I'll go through and try. I'm a creative guy, so I'll just try different formats. And then I know the ones through the stats through Sendspark is what's working better. Yeah, so I know someone said that they're posting once a month, always with an image. Try a poll, try it more regularly. I think that's the best thing to do. Link at the bottom of the page is spelling wrong. Yeah, sorry, it should be Paul Higgins. Oh, yeah, so it's missing the N. That is 100% me. So it should be that, paulhigginsmentoring.com. So really apologize for that. But as I said, you can just put it at the top. These are great. Some of these questions, some I'm skipping because they're probably a little bit more involved. I'll definitely get back to the people because I've got your names, etc. And someone's asked for some feedback on their profile, so I'll do that. If you can give one takeaway action item, what would it be? Great question, Dan. So I think the number one thing is to use more video as people get into your funnel, right? So I think that's the most important thing. And the other thing, which I'm giving you two here, damn, it's related, but just do sales activities every day, right? So easy to get busy in client work, in other things, but you've got to dedicate time to it. So look, it's wonderful, all the questions. There's one here around leveraging a company page as well. Look, I think company pages are more for employees, like if you're trying to attract staff, if you're bigger. So you can post on your company page. People normally go there just to see how big and validate you as a company. But the algorithm doesn't support posting on company pages. The only reason you use a company page is for advertising. You've got to have a company page to do ads. At the moment, we're getting so much success out of outreach that we haven't needed to turn on ads as yet. So great question. And yes, we'll also send the slides today, and there'll be a recording as well. So look, once again, I really want to thank Selena for all the work that she's done behind the scenes, Brandon, and also Bethany. It's I really love their product. As you can tell, it's got me great success, and it's got a lot of my clients, and I hope it does the same for you as well. So yeah, just really appreciate it. And Selena, I'll now hand it over to you.
Thank you so much, Paul. Again, really appreciate it. I'm pretty sure that everybody here also really appreciates you. And it was awesome working with you. It really was. And I would love to do it again. And hopefully we will at some point in time in the future. But yeah, if anyone needs anything, Paul, if you could go ahead and skip to the next slide as well. If you guys have any questions about Sendspark, feel free to ask away as well. If not, then you can always contact us at help.sendspark.com via intercom. We're always happy to help. But yeah, I'll give it maybe like one more minute to see if there's any other questions that come through for either you or myself. And then if not, then we will let everyone go. And thank you all for coming. Really appreciate it. Oh, Chuck, I see your question. It is Spark Success. I'll go ahead and write it in the chat for you. Chuck asked what the discount code for Sendspark is, and it is Spark Success. SPARKSUCCESS. Awesome. All right. I don't see. Thank you, Kapil. Appreciate that. Amazing. Superb knowledge, Paul. So you should give yourself a round of applause as well.
Thank you.
Cool. I think we're good. I don't see any other questions in here. Like I said, you can always reach out to us at help.sendspark.com. And then you also have Paul's information, his email there at the bottom. So let us know if you need anything else. But thank you guys all for joining us today. Bye.